In this episode of the 59 and a half Rebellion, we're talking about one of the most overlooked retirement challenges, navigating different schedules, different retirement timelines, the family responsibilities that come from being part of the sandwich generation, and the emotional side that comes with financial freedom. Lots of room to cover, but fellow Rebel, buckle up. 59 and a half Rebellion is off and running.
Many assume that you have to retire together or not at all. And so what I'd encourage you to think about is a few things. One, redefine retirement. It doesn't mean that you have to necessarily stop working. What it could mean is, fewer hours, a different role, maybe more flexibility, maybe you phase out over time. What matters here is more than maybe a shared end date, but alignment, that we have a path, we see a way forward, and it may not happen at the same time, but there is kind of this phased exit. There's a shared ending date that starts different times for different people. I'd also, number two, encourage you to separate financial readiness from emotional readiness, because often one spouse is financially ready long before they're emotionally ready, or vice versa. I see this quite a bit as we're working through our guardrail plans for our retirees, saying this is how much you can spend. We've got a good buffer. We can weather market changes, all of those kind of things. And so they financially are like, all right, maybe I'm ready, but emotionally, I'm just not ready to pull that trigger. And I feel like I'm walking off. It feels so drastic. That's why I go back to that phased exit idea. So number three, use a trial phase instead of like a permanent decision. This could look something like maybe sabbatical, or maybe you take a year where you're part-time, or you try something where you do some consulting and still stay on. These kind of temporary decisions can feel a lot safer. They can really reduce the pressure of making this cliff-like decision, we'll call it that. And then fourth thing is just to reassure yourself, you don't need the same timeline. What you really need is a plan that works for both of you. So I'll share a quick story. There was a couple that, because of the husband's career, they had more of a certain retirement date that he had to take in his job. So we knew at 65 or 62, whatever the number was for them, he was going to have to be done. The wife was in a situation where she was the business owner, and the transition for her was just beginning to take shape, where a company was looking to potentially purchase her business and allow her to have an exit over a number of years. Well, timing was different, that earlier for him, there was really no way feasibly or that made economic sense for her to leave earlier than what she had to. So that was a good example of where we did do a kind of a phased approach, where he retired and got to do a lot of things that he wanted to do, golf, having fun with his friends, those kind of things. And then because she was phasing out, they were able to do some of the vacations and some of the travel that's so important for early retirees, to get out there and do the things you've been waiting to. She was able to kind of accomplish both while the business, moved forward with that transition. So that's an example of one has to be done, the other doesn't. Finding a way to find some middle ground there, I found, can really alleviate this fear in a lot of ways. So if you're approaching this and you know that you're going to be taking on different dates, conversation, communication is huge here. To be saying, what are we going to do? What's the money going to look like? Is somebody going to lose benefits by one stopping before the other? Are benefits available at the other person's career? Is this going to involve Medicare? Is this going to involve Social Security? All of these things we can figure out. As planners, you can work through all of the ifs, ands, or buts as to how this might go, but getting that part figured out comes together then with that synergy of, all right, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do together. It might look different than what we planned. It's not going to happen on 12/31/25, although some of you, if you're retiring tomorrow, congratulations. But for most of us, it doesn't always happen exactly at the same time, and a good plan, a lot of communication can really help. Next then, what if something happens to my kids, or what if something happens to my parents? We talked earlier, we're in that sandwich generation of our kids are departing, but maybe not completely what we'll call off the county, completely on their own at this point. We also then have our parents that might need us, not just emotionally, not just for caregiving, but financially. This is kind of what this fear sounds like when I hear it in practice a lot, is we're probably going to have to help our kids financially. Maybe they have grad school. Maybe they want help with a down payment on a house, whatever the case may be. The other is my parents' health is really declining. What is that going to cost? Do they have the resources to do that? In our own lives then, are we going to be pulled into a long-term care situation? Are we going to need some long-term care of ourselves? Is there going to be some sort of disease that we as a family are going to have to take care of? Maybe we have an adult kid who can't find work and is going to need continual support. Or maybe there's this big, large surprise expense. It's a healthcare thing. I'll jokingly talk about weddings because we're knee deep in having to go through a few of these. Those are big expenses that come along. And so this shows up because we feel a lot of emotional responsibility. And so as we feel like our freedom, our financial freedom, our life freedom should be expanding, in a lot of cases, we're pulled back by this emotional responsibility. In some cases, this happens because our boundaries aren't clear. with our loved ones, just what we can and can't do. And then we do have a lot of guilt. Our guilt mixes with this love that we have for our kids and our parents. We want to do the best we can for them. But we also have our own future to think about.
There's more coming in this series, so please be sure to check out the full playlist and subscribe below so you don't miss out on our next episode. Thanks for joining us at the 59 and a half Rebellion. Thank you.